Our job is to care about the history of the game, to care about the values of the game.
I think a good story is the depth and the offshoots of the story, that you've got to dig beyond what you read about to get to a good story.
This is Entrepreneurs the Playbook, where I give you access each week to the world's greatest athletes and executives about their personal and professional playbook and what has made them champions on and off the field. This is the Playbook. This is little Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur the Playbook, and I say that because I have big Dave Baker with me, the CEO, president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I always like to start by, this is not only the birthplace of football, but it's also the birthplace of LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Dave Meltzer.
Oh, there you go.
I call Dave Baker big for one reason, because not just his stature, he has one of the biggest hearts of anyone I've ever met. And I see you as a mentor from the day that I met you. The Hall of Fame is so special to me. From the time I ran Leigh Steinberg to partnering with Warren Moon, who's on your board, all of these things, but to have someone that's such, I say, that lives in a world of more than enough.
Well, David, it's an honor. You know, one of our sayings here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we're in charge of keeping the legacy of guys like Warren Moon or any player that ever plays this game. And the history of the game is we may not always get it right. We make a mistake now and then, but we promise that no one will care more than us. Our job is to care about the history of the game, to care about the values of the game, to care about the men and women who built this game, whether that's on the field or in the office. And it's an incredible history.
And in that history, though, you're preserving through a unique style of leadership. It's passed down to your son, you know, Sam, who played for the Falcons, who probably touched the ball twice in his career, I heard, right? Yeah. And you, who were commissioner of the AFL, the mayor of Irvine, where our offices are, and a legend as you left everywhere because you left it a better place.
Thank you.
To take the #1 sport in America for men and women, 3-1, and leave this legacy through values and leadership that's not about Dave Baker ever, which, you know, it would be so easy for this to be about you, Dave. You know, it's easy for me to hide behind everyone, but, you know, you're out there at the, you know, the Radio Rows and 700 events. You know, tell me about that value-based leadership and the teamwork philosophy that you've instilled in this city, town, state, and even the country now.
Well, I'll tell you, David, that's at the very heart of our game. You know, one of the unique things about football, and maybe about all sports, is that when you give yourself to something that's bigger than you are, you don't become less relevant, you actually become more relevant. You become part of a community. And you become when that community is close enough, it actually kind of becomes your family. And in my experience, I've always loved to be a part of something that was bigger than me, you know, and to make a difference. And I think that's what happens. What every player wants is to be part of that family, to be part of that locker room, and to make a difference on the field, to contribute. Players very much want to have respect. They want to have trust. And to me, those are the kind of things that this value of the game is all about. Unfortunately, you don't hear words like nobility or honor or integrity very often anymore.
Yeah.
But the game is rooted in all that stuff. You know, and for us, it's not just about the guys whose bronze busts are here, like Warren. You know, incredible story. You know, or other players like my son who got paid for it. You know, those same values are being taught by coaches at high school levels, at youth football levels. And those guys go on to be great businessmen like yourself, or police officers, or firemen as first responders, or soldiers. And they all go on to become fathers, or, you know, in the ladies' case, the mothers. And I believe those values can make you better at each one of those things. So it can make our families closer, our communities better, our company stronger, and our country greater. And so, to me, we call it the Church of Football. Yeah. It's not just about winning and losing, and it's certainly not about all the money in the NFL. But it is about commitment and integrity and courage and respect and excellence, which we stand for here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there is a spirit of excellence here that pervades every person, not just the Hall of Famers, but all the past players, the administrators, executives, the council people of Canton, to buy into such a large vision. I remember talking to Sam. I worked out at the same Stark gym, just to give him a plug, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, I said, I've been involved with the Hall of Fame for so many years. I'm from the Akron-Canton area. And I go, and you're talking about $900 million Disneyland of football. And he said, well, my dad, he goes, you could think big and then times it by 10. And that's the way it's going to happen. And but for me, this is very important because I want people to learn what this place is about. Every single person in the Hall of Fame, and I've been blessed, running Leigh Steinberg and being Warren's partner, to see the difference of a Hall of Famer. Even there's the professional player like your son, that there's something special, but to be a Hall of Famer, to understand, to think, like a Warren Moon, when nobody would let an African American play professional football, to sit there when everyone's saying no. I was with Ray Lewis yesterday. He said, Dave, you know why eagles fly alone? Right? Because they don't want to hear what anybody else. They couldn't. That's why they fly higher than any other bird. Because they don't have you can't do this. And every person in the Hall of Fame is a I am person, not a you can't person. And that's what you are as well, Dave. As a leader, you inspire people. And I think I saw the new motto, which I love. Is this the House of Inspiration? Is that what it's called? Or
The most inspiring place on earth.
On earth. And it is.
If Walt Disney's got the happiest place on earth, we've got the most inspiring place on earth. Because I will tell you, when I came here from Newport Beach,
which isn't easy to come in.
It's a lot colder. But David, I had no idea two things. Number one, how cold it was. But number two, I had no idea that every day, pretty much, probably here today at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, somebody comes through here who's terminally ill. And believe it or not, we've had people here who have weeks to live. And for whatever reason, they want to go through the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And for me, as we've talked to them and understand it, for them it is about family. And the family is the best team you'll ever play on. And they found some hope sometimes when Warren Moon or Roger Staubach or Doug Flutie threw a Hail Mary, and things can still happen. There's still hope. And these to me are important values. And when you think about what Walt Disney did, which is incredible, he did it on the backs of a cartoon mouse, for goodness sakes. And Goofy and Pluto.
After bankruptcy.
That's right. But he didn't have Warren Moon. He didn't have 182 living gold jackets or 310 Hall of Famers. He didn't have 20,000 guys that have played this game and represent the values of it in such a spectacular way. We've got all that. We've got 46 of the top 50 TV shows and the Super Bowl and the draft. But we're excited about it. I mean, of all these guys who played, like all of us, there have been 300 million young men and now women who have played this game. There's only 5 million that have played it in college, like Warren did at Washington.
I did at Occidental College.
Exactly. There you go. A fabled program.
That's right.
But there's only 29,000 who've ever been paid to play it, coach it, or officiate it in the NFL, like Sam. And of that, here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there's only 310 right now who have a bronze bust and only 182 who are living Hall of Famers. Now that's extremely elite excellence. But the truth is, for all your viewers, the same things that made these guys Hall of Famers, it wasn't, they didn't fall out of bed great. But Warren over and over and over again, people said no, that a black man couldn't be a quarterback. And
6 years in Canada.
6 years in Canada. He had to go to a junior college to start, even though he's one of the best high school players in America. He wins the Rose Bowl at Washington.
MVP.
Nobody drafts him.
MVP of the Rose Bowl.
And what does it take? It takes perseverance. It takes believing in yourself. It takes courage. And, there's moms out there that are having to face courage. There's people who are waiting for their call. And these same values will make you a cellist in the symphony, or again, a great businessman, or a great mom. And so these things are transmutable and transferable to other people. And by focusing on these values, we can learn a lot. So that's why I think it's the most inspiring place on earth, and that's why I think so many people come here to be a part of it. Now, we've got this $900 million project that we're building around the Pro Football Hall of Fame to get set for the centennial celebration, which is 861 days away
12
from
hours,
today.
16 minutes, and 13 seconds.
There you go. There you go.
Countdown
There
here.
you go.
Well, meeting with you, and I know we shared early on, you like my motto of making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I've transcended and learned so much from you, and not just from sitting with you and being around you, but the speeches that I hear, and then of course the Hall of Famers that I'm with that, like Ray, they all quote you.
Well, that's
and
good.
I came up with this philosophy of a consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit, inspired pursuit of your potential.
Yeah.
And when I go, I'm getting choked up because I walk downstairs and I think, gosh, I had a 2-bedroom house, Akron, Ohio, single mom,
Yeah.
6 kids,
Yeah.
and I had dreams,
Yeah.
but because of here.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't matter. When you're a part of a team, it doesn't matter whether you're, Tom Brady or the least guy on that team. Everybody contributes to that team. And if Tom Brady contributes this much and this person contributes that much, everybody's going to be better off. And the same true as everyone out there. What can we do to help these guys go here and these guys go even higher? And when we do that, it is such a great feeling. I'll tell you, the greatest feeling I've ever had was not me, doing something myself,
But you've done a lot.
but me helping other people, my kids, doing great things, or to help friends, achieve great things. When people grow, wonderful things happen. I kind of learned that when I was commissioner of the Arena Football League. My motto, David, was, hey, if your secretary's growing, your business is growing.
Yeah.
And I had a secretary, Renee Anderson, who I talked to a lot at different times, but she's now like the number 3 or 4 person at the NFL. She's the senior vice president of consumer products and sponsorships at the NFL. That's my old secretary.
That's awesome.
She just grew and grew and grew. And I've had Ed Policy, who's the chief operating officer at the Green Bay Packers, and another friend who's at Madison Square Garden. And when all these people grow, great things happen. And that's what we want. We want to inspire great growth in other people. And when they do that, making money takes care of itself. Having fun absolutely takes care of itself. And doing good also takes care of itself.
Yeah, good deeds, they surmount up. I was going to say, your philosophy of elevating others to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
And the idea of the teamwork, as I walked around and people were talking about you, like, Dave likes to huddle people up. This is a game. I was with Reggie Love, who was the chief stuff officer for President Obama.
Yeah.
And he, very similar to you, talked about, like, I never was the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I was on great teams. Duke, right? Nobody really, I got to play a little bit, but I walked on at Duke.
Yeah.
And then, I got to work for this great team of Obama, as a junior senator.
Yeah.
And then now, with Transatlantic, he's a huge hedge fund, leader, but part of another team.
Yeah.
You're expanding the team concept by utilizing what I call these bug lights, these exceptional human beings. What legacy do you want to leave? Because this is all about legacy. You're archiving things, you're displaying things, people are donating things, and corporations are believing, which is the biggest belief system in America, is when you can get someone like Johnson Controls to say, hey,
they're a great
I
partner.
believe in the character, the integrity, the values, the commitment. We want to be a part, we want to be identified with this legacy. What legacy is it that you want to leave with this unbelievable venture?
Well, just a second on Johnson Controls.
Yes,
They're
please.
such a great partner. Again, they paid a lot of money to put their name on this place, not just because of the buildings, but because of what's going to happen inside and because of those values that it stands for. And to me, it's not about my legacy or what I do. But if I had any epitaph for my tombstone someday, which may be a little bit bigger than most, not because of my achievements, but just because of how
They might have to bury me next to you, so they
that's right.
his back out.
That's right. It's going to be a bigger grave, but it'd be that he cared.
Nice.
And again, in my experience, caring about a project, caring about a team, caring about people, man, I love doing that. Most of us in life would rather be in the game than on the sidelines. And if you're in the game, you want to be with people who care, and people who are going to challenge me and make me better. And hopefully along the way, I can make them better. And if we all get better, we're going to make a difference together. And I don't know what that difference is. I don't, you're still a young guy, David. I mean, somebody once told me that the power years in business are 55 to 75, so you're just getting started.
I'm getting there.
But think what's going to happen down the road. Think of the people that you will touch. Think of the lives you'll change. And along the way, making money takes care of itself. Absolutely. And the legacies takes care of itself. But I will say this, I'm really honored. I think I got the best job in the world. I'm real honored to take care of the legacy of not just Hall of Famers, but every guy that played in this league.
Or loves the game.
And the game is such a great metaphor for life. It is, there's adversity on the other side of that line. And we got to huddle up and we got to face it together. And Ron Yeri, one of our Hall of Famers, told me one time that, he spent 17 years in the NFL and only talked twice in the huddle. He said the huddle is a place for listening and learning. And he said that after he'd been a rookie and after a couple years, he learned that when you look in the huddle and you're shoulder to shoulder, he said, you listen with your eyes, not your ears. And you can see who's tired and exhausted and who needs help and who's frustrated and, who you can count on, who you might not be able to. And that's life. That's life. When you're trying to save your marriage or going through a divorce or you're trying to make payroll on Friday or you got a kid in a healthcare crisis, that's life. And so, there's more important things to win in football games. Even the Lombardi Trophy, as much as we love it, there's more important things than even that. But this isn't here at the Hall of Fame just about the worship of the game, and it's not about the worship of great football heroes like Warren, who I think a ton of. This is about the values that a guy like Warren relied on to persevere from, high school to junior college to Washington to the CFL for 6 years and then go on for 16 more years to ultimately become the highest paid player in the NFL when nobody else believed in him. And when that happens, those values not only help him, but they drag a whole lot of other people along the way to greatness. And so for me, this is a critical part in our country. And I don't know how much time we have, but the president was here just before the election. And he wanted to come to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, so we kept it open for him late one night. And, we kind of paused down at the Ralph Wilson Research and Preservation Center, where we have 6 million pictures and 40 million documents. And I could tell him that in that room there's all kinds of stories, but one of the stories was about in 1905 when the game was challenged as well. There had been 19 deaths in college football alone that year, 179 serious injuries. So college presidents were going to get rid of the game. They were going to terminate college football, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
No less than the president, Teddy Roosevelt, in the halls of the White House and the conference rooms said, we got to save football. Young men need to be tough and disciplined and rigorous. And so he prevailed, having been Secretary of the Navy before. Paul Daschle, the head coach at Navy, who prevailed upon Walter Camp, the keeper of the rules at Yale, to then be in a situation to incorporate this thing called the forward pass. And now the game's all about the forward pass. But originally it was to make the game safer because it had become this battering ram. And it may have saved football, but more importantly, 30 years later, David, we had 17, 18, 19-year-old young men in the Pacific, in Europe, in Africa, the guys that Tom Brokaw called the greatest generation, really saving the world, not just football, but the world.
Right.
And they understood the concept of team and commitment and sacrifice for the greater good. So we feel that what's going on isn't just about the NFL. This is important to America, and it's important to the world.
Well, it certainly is to me as well. And Dave, I would not have this great venture in anyone else's hands, because one, you do care, and I'm always impressed by your kindness to everyone. I know you're really busy, and that, you know, my mom always taught me just be kind, and that's really where you are. I get choked up talking to you because I'm just so impressed, and I love this place, and I appreciate you.
Especially for those guys from Canton.
That's right.
They really understand it. They really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you. This has been Entrepreneur, The Playbook, the Hall of Fame edition with Dave Baker. This is Dave Meltzer, CEO of Sports One Marketing with Entrepreneur, The Playbook, and I am in one of my favorite, I call this the birthplace of football, but even more importantly, this is the birthplace of Dave Meltzer, LeBron James, and Steph Curry.
Wow.
Not in that order.
Are you going to be in the NBA Finals with them? Is that it?
I'll be there watching. We got to go to the Celtics game last night, so I was
of course you did.
very happy going, I think the Cavs can beat both these teams, so I don't care who wins. As you know, I'm a big Buckeye, and George, I really want to get, since this is for Entrepreneur, we have so many people asking about how to get into media. And you have been involved in media, not to age you, but from, you know, traditional media. Now we're analyzing the setup that we do podcasts, and you have your own channel with the Hall of Fame. Can you give me a little bit of background of the evolution of media in your career? Because I think it gives insight to a lot of young entrepreneurs on the history and how to get into media, what skills you need, what knowledge, et cetera.
I think you need to have incredible interpersonal relationships, the ability to write, tell a story, articulate a story, and if you can start with those three things, that transcends any of the technological changes that happen.
Do you just hire people for the technological changes? Is that?
No, I actually look for people who can tell stories, are willing to learn. I tell my people all the time, you are what you read. Okay, it's not about, look, with the accessibility through the web to all forms of content and to every piece of equipment on the planet, I think you can find as many people as you want who know the technology. And it's not about knowing the technology, it's how to package the technology to become digestible and consumable to the consumers and get yourself above the clutter, because everybody's a producer. My wife's a producer, you know, my sons are producers. You're fighting now the difference when I got involved in the traditional media at CBS from 81 to 95 and, you know, produced great shows. As there, you've heard it, there were 4 channels and it was sort of like a closed club and not everybody knew how to do it. Today, everybody knows how to do it. They can do it in different forms of shapes, and it actually makes it harder to break through the clutter and get more competitive. But I think if you have those skills, storytelling, good writing, your willingness to work hard and dig out information that nobody else does. That's another big thing I'm about. Don't go with the grain, go against the grain. You've got to go against the grain. And I do believe in the end, good quality, excellent quality rises above the clutter. And to try to do that when you see a lot of clutter doing well, and they do well in that instant moment, but is it long term? That's where I think you win.
So this original content, finding your frequency is what I hear you saying. What else makes for a good story?
I think a good story is the depth and the offshoots of the story, that you've got to dig beyond what you read about to get to a good story. I mean, for instance, you know, Jim Kelly, that's a very, very well-known story. And we're looking to do a number of things with Jim. And as we go through the storylines, and you've got Joe Horrigan here, who's known him for 30 years in Buffalo, you hear these side stories. I'll give you one example. So he never wanted to play in Buffalo. He wanted warm weather climate after playing at the University of Miami. He got picked up by the Houston Gamblers, the famous run and shoot, great shootouts with Steve Young, one of the great games ever, 900 yards. But then the league folded up, and he ended up being drafted by Buffalo. And he went to Buffalo, and when he landed at Buffalo, they had a parade for him from a greeting at the airport to downtown. He didn't realize they looked at him as the savior, not just of the Bills, but of a city that was downtrodden. They had lost the Buffalo Braves, the NBA team, out to San Diego Conquistadors, and he realized that maybe there was a reason he was supposed to go to Buffalo. And if you think about it, it wasn't that he lost 4 Super Bowls. He was the renaissance for a city that was on the verge of going downhill, and it was a greater purpose. Now, the way I've just told that story, that's a lot more elaborate and more in-depth and has more context around it than just saying he went to Buffalo and lost 4 Super Bowls.
Absolutely. Now, your career has evolved, and here you are now the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Producer for the Hall of Fame. And the progress here is extraordinary. It's the Disneyland of football. $900 million facility. I tease my business partner, Warren Moon, all the time that when we found out about the plans, because Warren's on the marketing board and et cetera, I said, well, I should just buy up 10 homes across the street. And now it's all real.
You thought well. It's all happening. Yeah,
it's all happening. And it's an unbelievable place. We know the past. We have the present. Tell us about the future for the content of the Hall of Fame as the executive producer.
We are forming with Immersive Artistry for the Village a company called Hall of Fame Media. And we're building all this content to fold it into that, because we have to anticipate that the dynamic of what's going to happen here is going to create 10 times more media than we are capable of producing or doing. And so we're being part of this company, and the company is actually being headed up by Mark Bezos, who was very involved in branding and really loves sports and is very sharp, was in the advertising world. And now we're going out to LA and to Hollywood, and we're taking our great properties and we're looking to attach great talent to make them a lot more valuable. And we need a lot more bandwidth. We have to partner. We have to partner with production companies. We could partner with you, as you're talking about in the podcast. We're looking to partner with digital social media platforms to make ourselves bigger, because we have to anticipate that by 2021, when there's 750,000 visitors here, when the stadium is doing 40 events a year, when the Center for Excellence is doing 50 business conferences, how are we going to indigest all that content? How are we going to shape it? And how are we going to put it out there? And we can't do it on our own.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is the content that you have Ralph Wilson gave the Historical Research Center, and I loved his speech. It was one of my favorite ever, when he said, what I really spent all that money on is to figure out how I lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. But you have all this great talent. And coming from Leigh Steinberg, one of the strategies that I always had was this I called it the bug light strategy, that Leigh himself had his own Hall of Fame, right? In fact, maybe a third of the Hall of Fame in the modern day are Leigh's clients. And we would use them to attract business and people. And you have the spirit of excellence. You have the
brand.
And I'm so blessed to be around Hall of Famers, because you and I both know, and I'll probably talk to Dave Baker more about this, but they're not just football players to make the Hall of Fame. These are the world's best, and it takes an extraordinary human being to be the world's best, which provides you unlimited content, because you literally could have a film crew a video crew for each one of your Hall of Famers, and every time because they volunteer so much, anything they do is extraordinary content. To see those speeches when they're at the high school, the elementary schools, let alone the commencement speeches at Ohio State, the things they get to do, the TV shows, you literally have more content than some huge facilities in Hollywood.
That's correct.
And the access to these extraordinary people. When you're partnering, what qualities are you looking for in those partners? Because it's so hard. You're here in Canton, Ohio, and now you're going to be dealing with Hollywood, which you have experience with. But what qualities are you looking for? Because you have to protect your brand. These are the top echelons of people.
You have to be a believer. It starts with our mission statement. Honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and celebrate excellence everywhere. You have to show us that you're value-driven. The values we live by: respect, commitment, courage, teamwork, hard work, determination. There are 75 values. And once we find partners like that, and they're driven by that, almost like what you and Leigh did with having the players do charity work. And you're right, we could follow the players with cameras, but it's the light that the players shine on everybody else that they influence. It's really the spectacular, inspirational content. They're changing lives. That's the thing we need to get out there and capture more of, changing the lives. And the Hall of Fame values on your road to the Hall of Fame, we use that as your Hall of Fame values for your life. So if you're playing football, your chance of getting the Hall of Fame, like the NBA or anything else, is 0.01%. But that's not the point. The point is the game is such a tremendous game. It becomes your game for life. You become a better policeman, or you want to become a doctor to take care of people because you saw people injured on the field. But there's something very, very, very special about the game of football that people are attracted to far beyond if I get in the Hall of Fame. So we call it, you can have a Hall of Fame life in playing the game.
It's interesting because I FaceTime my 8-year-old because I've been on the road doing these podcasts, and I was down in the store, and I wanted to ask him what jersey he wanted. And for the kids, they have all the modern players, Roethlisberger, Wentz, Goff, etc. And I'm using the camera to show him, and I said, so what do you want? He goes, don't they have any retired players? Which I thought, he is surrounded with a lot of Hall of Famers, but it showed the power, and he wanted to come here. We went to the Celtics game last night. Before that, just extraordinary things that we get to do. And the one thing he wanted to do is he made me promise that I'm going to bring him here in August. And so there's this power of all the heroes, and we use that in a really different way, I think, here. The final question I have for you is, you're like Sam Baker. You're this left guard that maybe in your career got to touch the ball 2 times a year or whatever it is, but a huge legacy. I've seen it myself. When there was no Dave Baker here, there was George Veras and a vision, and you had a really big vision compared to the local council people of Canton in a little orange juice building that I used to come visit you at. What legacy, though? I mean, what an extraordinary opportunity. You worked for the NFL, you worked for CBS, but what legacy do you want to leave personally with this opportunity?
I appreciate it, but I don't view it as a personal legacy. The legacy should be that if we've changed more and more lives with our brand, if we've gotten the word out to show everybody how those lives have changed, then we've done our job and the rest takes care of itself. And that's the opportunity that is so exciting about being here. And that the fact that I've had great opportunities like you've had, the Olympics, the network, taking musicians, taking around the world tour, not at all. I listen to them all the time. But the fact that I've seen how much the world doesn't have makes me feel blessed to be here every single day to give us the chance to do something here in America in a troubled time and a tough time, but looking to the next 100 years as being that narrative, how the game helped to make America better. To have that chance is beyond a legacy.
That's amazing. Well, the seed of football was laid here in Canton, Ohio, and now I think the seeds of excellence for the entire world are being laid with $900 million, Johnson Control. I always give a corporate recognition because corporations have to step up and believe.
They believe.
And we appreciate it. And most importantly, George, I always appreciate your mentorship, and you've helped my career, whether you know it or not, with your great example of how to treat people. Always took time to be with me, including today. I'm getting choked up a little bit, but I do.
I'm honored by that, my friend.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Love you, brother. Thank you very much.
This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur, the Playbook.